Well, Watson's back again, and this time it's something absolutely ridiculous, because basically, as you know, the Woolwich, everyone knows about the Woolwich attack now. Well, Watson's come out and said, oh yes, I'm going to debunk this hoax, because as we know, the Woolwich attack did happen. It wasn't a hoax, it really happened, but for some reason Watson has decided that he's going to make a hoax. Yes, he's going to actually make a hoax so he can get views. Because, basically, he's fabricated an entire hoax. That's the hoax, that's the real. Now, he goes through and explains why it's a hoax, and then, this is the kicker of why he's doing this. He's annoyed that people aren't paying attention, let me find it, aren't paying attention because David Cameron says he's going to arm Woolwich terrorists. That's not what he said at all, and basically what's he doing? He's doing his usual tactic of blaming the Syrian rebels. Yes, because apparently the Syrian rebels are all terrorists and are not people trying to overthrow the oppressive government, as has been demonstrated on multiple times. Heck, their government has even fired into protesters that weren't even armed. So, at the moment in time, Watson is an absolute moron. You know what, the UK hasn't said anything about arming them, but what they have promised is, like many other countries, is non-aggressive aid. So they're offering them food, body armour, things like that, things that are going to help them, but not going to help them fight. And then we get into the real meat and potatoes of this argument, because what Watson says right at the end is so hilarious. Now, let me find it.
Which is predominantly Sunni Muslim, is killing those same Wahhabi terrorists.
You may like to know that the Wahhabi sect is incredibly small. In fact, the majority of Muslims are either Sunni or Shia. So at the moment, it's the same sects fighting each other, because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the Sunnis are in the north and the Shia are in the south. So, sorry.
So in fact, Muslims in places like Syria are fighting against these terrorists, while everybody in the world...
They're also fighting against an oppressive government, but, you know, Watson doesn't want to mention that because it ruins his entire argument that we're arming terrorists.
A great portion of people just say, oh, all these Muslims come from the same ideology, they want to kill us all. Kill them all, let God sort it out. It's this kind of mentality that plays right into the clash of civilizations that the Council on Foreign Relations, people like Huntington, have outlined.
Now, while the clash of civilizations isn't a problem, it's not been so far a sort of actual general problem to the point that Watson makes out, because, believe it or not, a clash of civilizations, what happens? Who wins? Is the big question. No one can control who wins, not even these supposed puppet masters that Watson proclaims, people like the Bilderbergs are, that are trying to fathom this new world order. Because it doesn't matter, even if they do create this supposed new world order, guess what? There's still going to be a clash of civilizations. How are they going to sort it out? It's still going to be there, and Watson doesn't come up with an answer at all.
Decades ago is the agenda to drive us towards their new world order, and they need incidents like this. They need people to buy into the propaganda.
You see, I honestly don't know if Watson actually does think it was a hoax or not, because I really do think he does, given that statement that he just said there.
In the aftermath of those incidents, to shape that very clash of civilizations agenda, which is also being shaped by the Labour government's admission now that it pursued a deliberate policy to flood the UK with immigrants in order to enforce this disastrous multiculturalism idea.
Oh my god. Right, Labour has never ever said that. Right, immigration is a very good thing for any country, and guess what, Watson? You live in the UK, And if you aren't aware of UK history, the UK is probably one of the most multicultural societies that has ever existed. Starting with the original Britons, which then the Celts came over, then the Romans came over, then the Angles and Saxons came over, then the Vikings came over, and then the Normans came over, and then the Protestants from Germany and the other places where they were being persecuted in Europe came over to England. And then you get other multiple societies and peoples who have come to the UK throughout the years. The UK is a massive multicultural melting pot, always has been, always will be. Multiculturalism in this country is nothing new, despite what people like you say. In fact, what people that tend to be like that are actually tend to be quite racist, from what I have heard in their sayings. If they're not, well then I've yet to hear from one yet. Your multiculturalism is a very good thing. It's given the UK a heck of a lot, despite what people like you say, Watson. And here's the other thing. He goes back a while ago and he said, in this very same video, and he says that the EDL are Zionists. The EDL are Zionists? Zionists? Excuse me while we look up this up on Wikipedia. Zionism is a form of nationalism of Jewish and Jewish culture that supports a Jewish nation state in the territory defined as the Land of Israel. The EDL are not Zionists. They're nationalists, but they're not Zionists. Watson continually pisses me off. You know, his channel is called Planet Live, but I'm sorry, he's trapped himself in his own prison of absolute stupidity.